Hi, y'all. Hey, good morning and welcome to another episode of Mafia Memoirs. My name's Jody.
I'm Rod Puzey.
And we are super excited to have you guys join us this morning. We're actually waiting for Nick Veccio from Stickler for Details out of Fort Collins, Colorado to join us. And so while we're waiting for him, we are super excited because we are heading to Salt Lake for Renny Doyle's advanced training. And guess what? We are not just going to be sponsors. We're actually going to be trained. So hold on. I'm trying to add Nick right now.
If we can be trained. Some people say we're untrainable.
It's kind of see, there you go. Where'd he go?
Old dog new tricks thing. Might not happen. They might throw us out.
I can't click on his name. It's like, oh, there it is. User error. I'm clicking his name instead of the add button.
You think I was saying a mobile device.
What can you do, man? It's always something. So it's because I'm not used to the Android side of things. We've actually been having better luck adding the Android users as opposed to iPhone. So. Yeah.
Hey guys.
All right, Rod, you're gonna have to scoot over close to me, man. Get all cozy.
How are ya?
Good. How you doing, Nick?
Good. How you been?
You know, just crazy busy. You know, this summer has just been insane with all of the various activities. We were, of course, with you out at Air Force One, and then we just got back from Mobile Tech Expo. And tomorrow we're actually heading to, this
afternoon, yeah.
We're heading to Salt Lake to participate in Renny Doyle's advanced one-day training. So
very
excited
nice
to head down there.
Yeah. No, you guys have been all over. I know the travel thing, that's not easy, and boy, it's been a whirlwind of a summer for a lot of us in the group. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's super fun.
So I want to talk about that. Tell us about the adventures after Air Force One. What was that like?
The whole Air Force One program for me, has been extremely beneficial. That was my second year on the project, and this year I was on the finishing team. And I remember the first year we were out there doing that, working with you, I was like, oh man, I need to make that finishing team. I want to be on it. Boy, I'll tell you what, holding a polisher for those 7 days, I was thinking to myself, man, it would be nice to have a little break in between, but I mean, there was a lot of polishing. Hats off to those guys, Kyle, Big Mark. I mean, those guys that year after year are back on that, because there is a lot of work, a lot of finishing work to be done. Air Force One and on the bombers, that was incredible. But it was a great experience. I'm very fortunate. Been blessed. I mean, just the word of mouth when people come into the shop and see our team photo, or see a picture hanging up and they ask you about it. Had multiple people here in Fort Collins. We have a smaller airport, asked me to come down and do their planes and stuff like that. So it's an incredible event. I feel blessed to be part of not only detailing success, the detailing mafia, but just the detailing family in general around the U.S., not even the U.S., around the world. It's incredible. Has only elevated the business since I took training and the opportunities, like I said, McCalls. I walked around with my mouth wide open. I don't see those type of cars here,
Yeah.
It was just mind-blowing to walk around and see cars. I mean, a lot of them I didn't even know what they were. It was like a kid Christmas morning. So it was awesome. This summer's been completely awesome. Trip after trip, and they keep getting better each year.
That's awesome.
That's cool. So are you going to be going to the SEMA show here in about 60 days?
So the SEMA show coming up. I'm real excited for that. I mean, that's always a good event. I'll go out Wednesday to Saturday night. I got some things going on out there, and then we'll obviously do the main part of going for me every year is just the educational day with Renny. That day in itself is hands down the most important day for me, because every time I get with Renny, Justin, Big Mark, God, Kyle Clark, I mean, you learn so much. For me, getting together at those events, it's the camaraderie with those guys, but the education. I mean, those guys have so many. I've had the business 19 years, okay? But
Wow.
every time I get together with them, I learn something new. And that's been the best part for me. You know, like I said, I've been doing it. I did it. I went to training in 2017, so I had 16 years under my belt. Had knew about Renny, knew about the training, just never pulled the trigger. And then in 17, I decided, you know, I was going to go out and do the training. For me, the big part of it was I ran the business like a hobby because my kids and my family were first. I have a wife who's very career driven, very successful. But again, she's gone quite a bit, and I made that choice that I was going to be the one to pick the kids up, take them every, you know, soccer practice, this and that. So I didn't run the business the way it should be until I went to training with Renny and really realized what I needed to do with the business, you know, how to change it.
What are some of the things that you changed? I mean, because part of it is you're trying to balance, you know, a very career-driven wife, and you're stepping in as the counterpart to that, to play the role as, you know, as a dad. You know, so what kind of changes did you actually make to take it to that next level?
I think having the girls, obviously they're older now. When I started the business, both the kids were babies. Now one's 17, the other one's 14. I think they got to the point where dad's not needed. You know, they don't need me to be at every school function to get them there. So basically, with the kids' needs not there as much, I focused on, okay, I want to take I want to go full bore into the business. And what I learned with the training with Renny had taught me, okay, first off, you could call it, I had a business. I had a successful business, 17 years, 3 employees. We've always made money, but I got away from my dealerships. Now I still have 2 big dealerships. One's a Porsche, Audi, and Volkswagen dealership that I had from day one. So 19 years, and that's kind of unheard of with dealerships,
Yes,
because
it
most
is.
dealerships
crazy.
don't stick with you, and they want $100 detail, and we have a relationship built up to where you know, I'm not doing a $200 detail. It could be what you want. If you expect, you got to know you're going to pay for it. So I kind of targeted more the retail side, went after the retail. So now I would say I used to be 80-20. I would say that is flipped now. Doing more retail, but I keep the dealership work because, you know, just like you guys, winter comes, it's snowing, that you have that steady car flow, get it done, pull it out in the snow, take it back to the dealerships. And if I was a one-man show, I probably wouldn't do them, but I have 3 other guys that depend on getting paid, working every day. We are Monday through Friday, so you know, they like the insurance of being able to, no matter what the weather is, what's going on, they know to come to work every day, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
You know, and it works there. So that was huge. Renny basically getting in my head of, you need to look outside the box and focus on more of how to grow the business instead of settling for what you have. And I think that's what I did when I called it a hobby. I didn't have to go anymore because I had more than enough work than I wanted.
Right.
Now I want to take it above and beyond. I want to, I wasn't pushing the coatings and I wasn't doing this because I knew, okay, at 2:00 on Tuesdays, I got to take this one to piano class. And, I wasn't there at the shop. I wasn't working. It was more of a hobby. So just turning that into, I'm here basically every day. I usually get in about 5:00 in the morning, 4:35, try to get stuff done. The guys come in at 7, and then we're full board till 4:00. And, it's, I can see the changes. They're very easy to say once you start focusing. You guys know, like anything, when you put your mind to it and say, these are the changes we're going to do, it's flourished. And I'm very thankful and blessed that, I took the class. I remember, I think it was 2010, maybe 2011, I looked at doing it. And I was like, nah, now's not a good time and this and that. So I think the biggest thing, the kids don't need me as much anymore. And now I can really, you both know that. Now I can actually work the business the way I probably should have when I first started it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing because there are seasons in not only life but also in your career. And it's exciting when you start to see you can see new seasons coming, and they're exciting. They're also a little bit of trepidation for them.
Yeah.
I mean, my last 2 girls will be completely done with school next summer, and so you start thinking, well, you know what, we could do this as a couple. We could do this with our business. There's some new ideas that we have that we'd like to explore. And so that becomes kind of an exciting time, but that is filled with new opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even getting started, the way we got started was kind of funny. My dad had just retired, and my dad's my partner, and he was 55, retired early, and 3 months into retirement was going batty. I mean, my mom was like, he's driving me crazy because he worked all his life, 35 years with the same company. All he did was work. And I think that was one of the biggest things for me growing up is we never needed anything, but I wanted him to be around, but he was always working. And that, for me as a father, I took it as, okay, work's always going to be there. My kids aren't going to be young forever. That's where it was a hobby for me. My kids came first, then the job. And how we got started into this is always into cars, not a gearhead, but my dad had still has a 65 Stingray. My mom had a 75 Stingray, and he had a DeLorean. So cars all over the house. And every Saturday, me and my little brother would have to go with my dad up to the car wash, and we'd get the buckets out, and we'd have to rent and this and that. So we're always tinkering with it. And my dad was my hero, my idol. I wanted to be just like him. So I went to school for business management. My dad was a division manager for Consolidated Freightways, like Yellow and Roadway. And they obviously bellied up. And but anyways, I went to school, wanted to be a suit and tie kind of guy, just like my dad. And about a year before I graduated, they offered me a terminal supervisor role. And I took the job. I was engaged to my wife at the time. And 2 years of doing a desk job, I was ready to jump off a bridge. I mean, I absolutely hated it. Meantime, my dad retired, looking for something to do. So rented a garage, and he started detailing cars for a friend who owned a lot next door. I said, Dad, how is it? And he's like, it's pretty good. And I said, well, could I come on the weekends and help you? And he said, yeah. And, I liked it. And I said, Dad, I'm going to quit my job. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm going to quit and let's go into business. Let's do this. And he's like, I'm not too sure about this. And my wife will attest to the story. I quit my job. Her and I are newly married, no kids yet. Quit my job, and I was making decent money back at that time. So we're talking early 2000. And the first month, my paycheck I brought home was around $300. And I thought my wife was going to boot me to the curb because she gave me that look of, what did you just do? And I was worried. But, my dad and I, like Renny said, we didn't have a business plan, but we kind of jammed one together. You go that direction, I'm going this direction. We pounded the pavement, started bringing in clients, and from there, it just took off. And even with the economy, in 2009 when everything went to hell, I had to downstaff. But I was able to keep it going. And then once the economy started coming around, I was able to get the staff back. The biggest thing with me, though, is I don't want to be a production type shop. And I know a lot of detail shops that do dealership work. That's what they are. So I keep it to 3 guys. I won't, even though I could put more on, we won't do it because I don't want to become a production shop. We do offer dealership work. They know they take a back seat. So if we're like summertime, we're completely stacked up. They know they have to wait or we just can't get to it. But the whole getting into detailing, never thought I'd be detailing. Always thought I wanted to be a businessman, just like my dad, suit and tie kind of guy. But I cannot sit in front of a computer. I would rather wash floors, build a fence, dig a ditch, do something with my hands than do the corporate America stuff. And it was a good experience. I learned a lot, but I also learned I'm not that type of person.
Yeah, but look what you've built. I think a lot of times, we have been, especially I think in the 80s and 90s, we were so conditioned. Go get a 4-year degree. Go into business. Go, you have to have that degree. And it almost displaced and discouraged you going into any kind of trade. And now the trades are really struggling trying to find talent because they've downplayed them so much. And you found through, just taking that leap that, hey, you know what? Well, I really love doing this, and I don't want to be behind a computer. And a lot of times I'm thinking the same thing. So
it's tough.
There's a secret about Zenware, and that's the reason that Jody and Rod travel around to work on planes and cars and stuff is because we don't like sitting behind a desk all the time. So, don't tell anybody, but there's an ulterior motive there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's to me, if you're not doing something you love and I know you have to make money and provide and stuff like that. But if you're not doing something that you love, your life here on earth is so short if you think about it. And if you dread going to work, I just had a long talk with a person in the group. I think we take for granted, every day we're alive and stuff. We are here for a short time. And if you're stressing about going to work or, I got this, and you're just stress ball, aggravated, and you got to make that change. Life is not supposed to be, for me, in my opinion, life's not supposed to be like that. When you wake up and you dread wherever you're going, and I love what I do. Am I going to be a millionaire doing it? Probably not the way I run it, because I'm not career driven. You know what I mean? I'm very simple. As long as I can provide for my family, my couple employees, I don't need much more than that. I'm a very simple person, you
That's
know.
awesome.
I think that's a real important thing there that a lot of people miss out on is they feel like I hear it all the time in some of the business groups we're in and stuff that, man, if my business isn't making multi-millions, if I can't sell it for $20 million in 3 years, then I've failed. And success is measured how you see it.
For sure.
If you're a one-man shop and you can provide for yourself and your family and you're happy, then you're successful. Every business isn't worth $100 million. That's not how it works. And if it weren't for some of the businesses that are not worth $1 million, all of us wouldn't be where we are. I mean, there are tons of people in my life that have done stuff with me or for me or whatever that I know they're just doing it because they like doing it. You know, I got a friend that's a plumber, right? The guy makes, you know, he's like $95 an hour. He's never had employees. I mean, in the real big upturn in 06 and 05, he had an employee full time, but then when it stopped, he just did his own thing. He's done it. He's going to retire as a plumber. He started as a plumber, and he's happy as he can be to have his name on the side of a van and have a career that he's going to be able to retire from. And I think that's really important to take a step back and say, what is it you want to do with the business? Where do you want it to be? Because I know a guy that, same kind of scenario, that at one point had 3 crews working full time doing sprinkler systems. He was doing $1 million jobs for the city, and he downsized everything. He went back to him and 2 other guys, and he's happier now. And he says, I make the same amount of money. My paychecks are the same. Whether I had guys doing $1 million jobs and I had all these headaches and all these trucks and all this stuff, but the more employees you have, the more expenses you have. It just keeps going up. So you got to kind of find that balance of where it makes you happy. And growth can be personal, it can be financial, it can be, you know, you put new paint on the walls. That's growth. So I think it's hard. It's great that you're grounded and that you can take that look at yourself internally and say, this is the type of person I am. This is what's important to me, and this is what I will and won't do. And I think a lot of people miss out on that.
For sure, and it's very easy to do, though. I mean, society the way it is today, you know, they portray it as, you know, like you just said, if you're not selling that company for $1 million, you're not successful. But what is success to you is different to me. I mean, everybody's idea of being successful is different. And, you know, for me, especially with having a career-driven wife in a corporate setting, she's a director of brand and advertising. I watch her and I'd be like, hell no, I don't want to do that. I mean, I see the stress on you. Why would I want to go do that? And I think you miss out on a lot of important things. Like I said, my 2 girls and my family come before anything. I always wanted to be there at every event, whether it was the school party where you know it's the same every year, 1st through 6th grade. They eat cupcakes, make a mess. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be at every, you know, I coached both them at soccer for 11 years, moved up with my age group. I didn't want a job where I was tied down and not able to do the things I wanted to do for my girls. Now it's a different story right now. They're not needing me as much. So now I'm working a lot harder on the business, the hours and stuff like that, because I don't need to be back at 2:30, 3 o'clock to take them to ballet and this and that. So the trade-off is there. To me, I think I did a great job being there for my kids. Now it's time to focus on my business and where I want to take it, where the end result's going to be. And I think the timing, I wish I would have went to Renny's training 10 years ago, but going now, it's like a fresh start because I get to build the business. I have a business started. Now I can improve on it and take it to where I want to go with the information that, you know, I was able to get from him.
That's
right.
awesome.
And the fact that you've been in business 19 years, I mean, I want to comment on that. That's phenomenal. I mean, I think the
I
statistics
appreciate
I
that.
saw this week were like 50% of businesses don't make it the first 5 years. Of those, 60% don't make it to 10. And then of those, like 70% don't make it to 15. You've outlasted all of that. This is
Yeah.
this month. So a couple of days ago, Jody and I and our other two partners, this is our 10th year. So we've
Congratulations.
made that milestone. We started in 09 at the very bottom of the worst economy, and we were like, hey, this sounds like a good idea. We're all out of work. Let's start a business. So to me, those kind of things, they strengthen you, and they help make it so that now that you're in a situation in your business where you're going, okay, now I want to accelerate the business. Well, you've already lived through the rough times. You've already lived through major downturns and having to downsize and dealing with all that, and now you get to, it gets to be fun, right? You get to say, hey, I'm not sacrificing my family. I'm not sacrificing my personal values here. I'm going to go and do this because I want it to stay fun, and I want to keep driving forward and do whatever I want to do with the business, take it to whatever level. And quite honestly, you are one of the elite people. I mean, when I think about the groups of people we get to talk to,
I appreciate that.
You know, the two of us schmucks get to go hang out with some of the people that deal with, you know, that go work on these cars. That I've been a car guy, and I've very been passionate since I was just a little kid. But to actually get to go and touch those and play with them and do the things that we get to do is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's just, you know, I step back and look at it sometimes, and I'm like, there's people on the outside of the rope, so to speak, you know, the analogy, they're looking in, watching, and they're like, wow, those guys get to touch that car. They get to, you know, and it's like, yeah, we get to go and do that. We get to, you know, go inside of a $250,000 Ferrari or work on, you know, a priceless airplane or something like that, you know, other people only get to dream about doing that stuff. You know, I count those kind of blessings, as you said, or those opportunities as, you know, each one of these is maybe a once in a lifetime, you know.
For sure.
And those kind of tally up in the back of my head. I'm not a guy that has a bucket list. I mean, I have things I want to do, but I kind of look at them after the fact, right? So like I got to drive a Ferrari F430 on an autocross course, and I got done with that, and I was like, that was definitely somebody's bucket list, and I just did that. I watched a video my wife took, and I'm like, that's me drifting a freaking $200,000+ Ferrari drifting around a corner on an autocross course. Who gets to do that? This guy. So I'm happy for those moments, and I kind of soak those in and just internalize those, and you know, they make me proud of myself. My kids do the same kind of things. I watch their events, and I'm the same way. I was at every event, every soccer game, coached my older daughter in soccer. My two younger kids are almost 17 and 15, and so, and I got all girls too, so I'm right there, dude.
Boy, I'm outnumbered.
That's right. The struggle is real, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, then I'm very happy and pleased that I've got to do that. I have regrets about missing things. You know, I've missed a handful of items that I chose to do. This year, Air Force One was on my youngest daughter's birthday, and I talked to her extensively about that. That was really tearing me up. And she's like, Dad, I'm 15 years old. We're gonna like sit around and eat cake.
Exactly.
Go.
Yes. Yeah. They don't want you anymore.
Yeah. So that's kind of fun stuff. I mean, I live those moments, and I'm happy we get to do that. You know, my middle daughter, I taught her how to drive in a very rare one of 47 of cars that were imported into the U.S. And she learned how to drive a stick. I mean, it was just, she's going to look back on that and go, that's just a car I learned how to drive in. But if she actually knew what the car was that she learned to drive in, I mean, it's like, you know, it's cool. You got to provide those things. So
that's awesome.
I'm excited for you. I think that your story is awesome. You know, you're one of those guys that Jody and I, whenever we talked about Mafia Memoirs, so we got to get Nick on.
Yeah, no, I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to do it with you guys. I mean, every time we get together, I love talking to you guys. Always a good time working with you guys. I mean, it's just awesome, and look forward to seeing you guys at SEMA.
Yep.
And just listening to, I think, what you guys do for us as a group, don't take that lightly. You guys have done so much for this group, and just these segments of different detailers, you guys don't realize how much that has helped other guys in the group when they were struggling with something, whether it's a personal issue or a business issue or detailing it. I mean, just being able to get out and watch something like this and have you guys set it up and do it. Nobody else is doing it, and you guys are, and it not only helps this group, but I've heard from guys outside the group, hey, what was that I saw? Where is it? How do I get in touch with them and stuff like that? So huge props to you guys for everything you're doing.
We're just having fun being a part. I mean, really.
See, that's awesome.
Rod and I said, you know what? If we're going to be part of this industry, we need to jump all in. And that's in part why we're going to the training tomorrow. And I told Renny and Chris, I said, we want to be trained. We don't want to go and just be on the sidelines. We want to go and spend a whole day being a detailer so that we can learn better about what you guys do, so that we can be better on our side to better support you. And it's just fun to be part of the group and just part of the industry, because the industry is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
it is.
It's just
a
for
sure.
Fun time. So
for sure.
No, I think I'm going the same place here. So one of the things is, tell us how people that are watching or that will see this, how do they get a hold of you if they're in your area? Website, phone number, where's your address? How do people get a hold of you if they want to come down and have, a professional take care of their car?
Before you do that, though, because that is exactly where I was going. I want to know how you came up with the name Sticklers for Detail, and then jump into that, and we'll wrap up.
All right, so real funny with that. Dad and I, like I said, Dad rented a shop, and he said, hey, I'm going to do this. And I said, okay. So we were kicking around ideas, and he actually was like, your mother's always a stickler. And then I said, wait a minute, what did you just say? He was talking about something my mom did, and the word came up, stick. I'm like, Dad, what? And he's like, Nick, I got it. I mean, I'm looking at him, and he goes, Nick, I got it. Sticklers for Details. Now, we weren't thinking the number 4 or anything like that. He threw it in there just to add a twist, because it was more his hobby or something he was going to go try to do. Worst case, if it failed, he was retired. So it stuck. And now, I mean, I get comments all the time. Where'd you guys get? And I was like, hey, my dad talking about my mom basically being a stickler. But I think it was honestly something one of us he left something out in the yard or something like that. And he was like, God, your mom's such a stickler. And then I was like, that's it. So, but anyways, yeah, we're Sticklers for Details. We're in Fort Collins, Colorado. www.sticklersfordetails.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram. So I appreciate it. And I really want to sincere thank you guys for having me on the show. It means a lot to me. It really does. It's just another thing I can say I did, and been looking forward to doing this for a while. So thank you guys very much.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Nick. So
well, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, we really appreciate it. We know you got a bunch of cars to go detail, and those that have been watching, thank you guys for joining us. We do this every Thursday about 10 o'clock. So you guys have a great day, and we will see you next week.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks again. Take care.
All right.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.